My friends, today we are going to step into the control center of your reality. We are going to explore the single most powerful creative force in existence, a force that is working inside you right now, shaping your health, your relationships, and most importantly, your income. That force is your thoughts. I want to show you today that the phrase control your thoughts, control your income is not some trendy self-help slogan. It is a deep, ancient, and functional principle found in Torah wisdom. By the time you finish this video, you will have a 3-step formula to take hold of your mind, and by doing that, take hold of your financial future. But first, we must identify the enemy. What is the one negative money thought that keeps repeating like a broken record in your mind? Is it, I'll never escape debt? Is it, I'm not smart enough to become wealthy? Is it, all the good chances are already gone? Write that thought in the comments below. Bring it into the light, because today we are going to drain it of its strength. Before we begin this work of mental transformation, I need you to join our sacred mission. We are aiming for 50,000 subscribers so we can create a global community of people waking up to the truth of how God's universe really functions. If you're ready to become the creator of your life instead of the victim of it, then hit that subscribe button right now. Join this mishpacha, this family of spiritual builders. And if you are one of the few who is ready to go even deeper and learn the more advanced methods of spiritual engineering, I invite you to become a channel member. You will gain access to my inner circle teachings that I cannot teach publicly. Press that join button below. Your support is what makes this holy work possible. Listen closely now. You have been misled. You were taught that your income is controlled by things outside of you, the economy, your employer, your education, your luck. These are all secondary influences. They are effects, not the root cause. The real cause, the core, the absolute source of your financial situation is the overall quality of your thoughts. Your outer world is simply a delayed reflection of your inner world. If your inner space is filled with thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation, your bank account will mirror that with painful precision. If your inner world is filled with thoughts of abundance, opportunity, and trust in the divine, your bank account will reflect that just as accurately. You are not a victim of your conditions. You are a victim of your undisciplined mind. Let me take you back to a time when my own mind was my biggest enemy. I was in my mid-20s and I had just launched my first real estate investment company. I had saved some money, I had big dreams, and I had a mind that felt like a storm of fear. Every day was a mental battle. I would wake up and my first thought would be, what if interest rates rise? I would see a property opportunity and my mind would shout, what if you cannot find a renter? What if the boiler breaks? What if the whole market collapses? My thoughts were a constant looping soundtrack of disaster. I was living in a mental prison built from the words, what if? And my reality matched that prison exactly. Deals would fall apart at the last second. Tenants would suddenly leave. Any small profit I made was eaten by unexpected problems. I was working 80 hours a week and still stuck, running on a financial treadmill, going nowhere. I was trapped in a cycle of average results. I remember the day I lost a deal I had been depending on. I got into my car and I broke down. My anxiety and hopelessness were so heavy I felt like I couldn't breathe. I cried out to God, why is this so difficult? Why does nothing I do work? And in the silence that followed, a soft voice whispered inside my heart, because you are praying for failure 80,000 times a day. I froze. 80,000 thoughts a day, and most of mine were focused on imagining, rehearsing, and obsessing over failure. I realized that moment that my biggest obstacle was not the real estate market. It was the real estate inside my own head. Here is the real problem, the shared enemy we all face. You think your thoughts are harmless, private, and meaningless. You think they are random background noise. This is the biggest lie the Yetzer Hara, the negative inclination, has ever invented. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are the strongest creative power you have. In Kabbalah, we learn that creation unfolds in a sequence. Makshava thought, Dibur speech, and Maaseh action. Thought is the highest, the most subtle, and the most powerful level. Everything that exists in the physical world started first as a thought. The chair you are sitting on was once a thought in a designer's mind. The device you're using to watch this was once a thought. Your income, your savings, your debts, your financial level, these are all physical results of the thought patterns you carry most often. Thoughts are the seeds. Your reality is the harvest. And for years you have been planting seeds of weeds and poison, then wondering why you are not harvesting fruit. The hidden mechanism behind this is one of the foundation principles of our faith. Tselem Elohim, being made in the image of God. The Torah teaches that we are created in God's image. What does that truly mean? It means we were given a tiny spark of God's creative power. How did God create the universe? The Torah says, and God said, "Let there be light." He created through speech, but speech is not the first step. Before God spoke light, He thought light. We, being created in His image, operate the same way, though on a smaller scale. Our thoughts are the blueprint. Our words and actions are the building crew that constructs the reality based on that blueprint. If your blueprint is for a shack of struggle, you cannot build a palace of abundance. The universe cannot deliver a life that goes against the blueprint you send out through your mind each day. The price of not controlling your mind, of letting your thoughts remain an open field controlled by the negative inclination, is everything. It is the cost of living far below your potential. It is the quiet pain of knowing deep down that you were made for more but feeling frozen. It is the frustration of watching people with less talent succeed while you stay stuck. You are not stuck because of life. You are stuck because you have not taken back the throne of your mind. You stepped away from your power, and the ruler of negative thoughts took your place. Now let me show you the most powerful and heartbreaking example of this principle in the Torah. The story of the spies, the Meraglim, in the book of Numbers. God freed the Israelites from Egypt. He promised them a land overflowing with milk and honey. They were about to enter their destiny. Moses sent 12 spies to examine the land. They all saw the same thing, a land rich with blessing, large fruit, incredible promise. But 10 of them returned with a report shaped by fear-based thoughts. They said, "The people there are strong and the cities are large and protected. We felt like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and that is exactly how they saw us too." Look at the spiritual law hidden in that. Their thought, "we felt like grasshoppers," created the reality, and that is how the enemy saw them. Their inner image of themselves was projected onto the world. They created their defeat inside their minds first. And what happened? The entire nation absorbed those fearful thoughts. They cried, complained, panicked, and because they chose that fearful mental reality, God let them have it. They wandered the desert for 40 years until that whole generation of negative thinkers was gone. They stood at the doorway of everything they dreamed of, and their uncontrolled thoughts locked the door. But 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua, had a different mindset. They saw the same giants and the same strong cities, but their thought was one of trust, courage, and possibility. They said, "We can surely do this. God is with us. The land is good. We will succeed." They were the only 2 from their generation allowed to enter the promised land because they carried the inner world that matched the outer blessing God wanted to give them. So understand this deeply. Your mind is the battlefield. Your thoughts decide your destiny. Your financial life is not shaped by the world outside, but by the world inside. If the inner world becomes aligned with abundance, faith, courage, and clarity, then your outer world must follow it. It has no choice. This is not magic. This is spiritual law. This is the physics of the soul. And now the responsibility is in your hands. You must take control of your thoughts, not once, not twice, but every single day with discipline and intention. You must reject Thoughts of lack and fear, the moment they appear, you must replace them with thoughts of confidence, divine support, and possibility. You must become the guardian of your mind, because the moment you take full command of your thoughts, that is the moment your income, your success, and your entire life begin to rise. Today is the day you choose what kind of blueprint you will create for your future. Today is the day you take back your power. Today is the day your new reality begins. The story has always been the same, a lesson about belief, courage, and the deep power of trust in something bigger than fear. They said, we can surely go up and take possession of it because we are more than able to overcome every obstacle. They chose a different mindset, a different way of seeing the world. And what happened? They became the only ones from their entire generation who were allowed to enter the promised land. The situation was the same for everyone, but their thoughts were not the same. Their choices created completely different futures. This ancient story is also a mirror for your own life right now. You must ask yourself, are you like the 10 spies who focused only on the giants, on the problems, on the impossible, and saw themselves as tiny grasshoppers? Or are you like Caleb, who fixed his mind on the promise of God and saw himself as someone who could win, someone who could conquer, someone who was backed by heaven? That day in my car, I had to face a truth I had been avoiding. I realized I was behaving like one of the 10 spies. I saw myself as weak when it came to money. I saw myself as someone who could not rise, someone who could not break through. I was a grasshopper in my own imagination, and I knew that if I did not completely change my thinking, I would stay stuck forever in the dry desert of my own financial struggles. My sudden realization was simple but powerful. Controlling my thoughts was not some soft, gentle practice of light, positive thinking. It was a fight. It was a serious form of spiritual battle. It was about becoming the strict guard at the gate of my own mind every day. It was about deciding with intention which thoughts I would let stay and which thoughts I would remove and destroy without hesitation. So I created a system for myself, a 3-part process to retrain the way my mind worked. I called it the Caleb Consciousness Protocol. It was my way of transforming myself from a spy who acted out of fear into a person who walked by faith. And slowly over time, the system worked. It was not magic. It was not instant. It was a struggle every single day, and some days I felt like I was winning only a little bit. But little by little, the voice inside my head began to shift. The repeating negative soundtrack that used to play non-stop started fading. A new voice began to rise, a voice that looked at possibilities instead of disasters. When I looked at a property deal, I no longer asked, what if everything goes wrong? Instead, my first thought became, how can this succeed? What is the opportunity hidden here that I could not see before? As the quality of my thoughts changed, the world outside began to change with them. Deals that were stuck for months suddenly moved forward. New open doors began to appear from places I never expected. I was still the same man living in the same market conditions, but I was operating from a new inner blueprint. I had stopped living as a grasshopper. I had started becoming a giant, and everything around me shifted, including my income, which grew faster than I believed possible. Now I want to give you the exact 3-step Caleb Consciousness Protocol. This is the method you use to become the ruler of your mind, and because of that, the ruler of your income and your life. The first part is what I call the guardian at the gate. This is awareness and rejection. Your first job is to become the awake, alert guard of your mind. For the next 30 days, you will practice strong self-awareness. Whenever a negative thought about money shows up in your mind, maybe fear, maybe worry, maybe a belief that you cannot do something, maybe a thought of lack, you do not let it enter your inner space. You stop it immediately at the gate. You say out loud, if you can, cancel. That thought is not true. It has no authority over my life. You must be firm. Do not sit with the thought. Do not debate with it. Do not let it grow stronger. You refuse to let it inside. This is the defensive part of the fight. You are cutting off the enemy's supply before it can reach your heart. The second step is the aggressive reframe. This is the replacement stage. It is never enough to simply reject the negative thought. You must immediately replace it with a strong, faith-filled thought. This is the part where you take new territory. If the thought says, I will never be able to afford that, you cancel it and then instantly replace it with something like, God is the source of all wealth, and He provides me with far more than enough to reach every goal He has placed in my heart. If the thought says, this deal will fail, it is too risky, you cancel it and replace it with, I have wisdom, clarity, and divine guidance. I can see opportunity, and I can manage risk with skill. You should prepare these replacement statements before you need them so you are ready for the battle. You are not only blocking the enemy, you are attacking him. The third step is something I call the gratitude flood. This is where the rewiring happens. This step is extremely powerful. Every night before you go to bed, you take a real notebook, not your phone, and you write down 10 specific things related to money, work, or opportunity that you are grateful for from that day. They can be small things or big things. You can write something like, I am grateful that one customer paid today, or I am grateful for the idea I had this afternoon, or I am grateful that I felt motivated today, or I'm grateful for a new idea that came to me while driving. When you do this every day, your brain begins to change. Your subconscious starts scanning for blessings instead of dangers. It stops looking for what is wrong and starts searching for what is good. It changes your inner atmosphere from lack to abundance. When your mind is filled with gratitude, fear has no space left inside. This three-step process, reject, replace, rewire, is your mental exercise routine. It is your daily spiritual training. If you are young, in your 20s, this discipline will build a strong mental foundation that will make you unstoppable. If you are older, in your 40s or 50s, and you have lived many years with negative thinking, this method will be your road out of the prison of old thoughts. You can supercharge this process by doing it with a partner. Choose someone who is serious about this kind of growth. Check in with each other every day. Share what you did well. Share where you struggled. Support each other. When one person is weak, the other can lift them up. Two people doing this together move much faster than one person alone. Now here is my challenge to you. I call it the 30-day mind control challenge. For the next 30 days, you will live this protocol. You will become the clear ruler and protector of your own thoughts. Here are your 3 preparation steps. First, tonight, get your gratitude notebook. Make it a special one. Treat it like something holy. It should be a notebook that you enjoy writing in, something that feels important to you. Second, write down 5 negative money thoughts you often have. Next to each one, write a powerful replacement thought. These will be your weapons. Third, set a daily alarm on your phone for the middle of the day. Label it Guardian at the Gate. This will remind you to pause, check your thoughts, and reset your mental direction. Remember the promise behind all of this. Your income does not rise or fall based on the economy. Your income rises and falls based on your inner consciousness. You were given the spiritual power to create, and the main tool of creation is your mind. Stop living like a grasshopper. Stop wandering through the dry desert of your own negative thinking. The land of abundance is already in front of you. It is waiting for you to change your inner world. As King Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, taught, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. This truth has stood for thousands of years. You become what you continually think about. So if you want to change what you earn, you must first change what you think. Pray that you will have the strength to guard your mind, the wisdom to choose thoughts of abundance, and the blessing that naturally flows into a life shaped by a mind aligned with God. May you walk with confidence, may you rise with clarity, and may you receive the increase that comes to those who think with faith instead of fear. Amen.